Hello and welcome back. I hope that you're doing well. Today, I wanted to take the time to share with you one of my favorite things to do and a beautiful habit that I have. And I thought that you might want to, share and partake and do it as well. Behind me, you'll see what I call my grateful jar. And that is what I'm going to talk to you today about how you too can create your own grateful jar and to basically share with you what this habit has done for me in my life personally. So let's get into it. If I'm looking down, it's because I got my notes right here. I want to make sure I give you all the information, right? So I'm going to say around 2017, I was seeing a couple of people on social media talking about how they had created grateful jars. And when I see something enough, I say, okay, let me go ahead and do this as well and see if I like it, if I'll still partake in it. So I found a random vase in the house, and I pretty much just went ahead and said, I'll use that. And then I just had a bunch of these little notes in the house as well. And I said, okay, let's start the grateful jar, right? So basically, every time I had a grateful thought randomly, I would just go ahead and write it down and I would put it inside of the jar, and that would be it. But then I think around 2019, or maybe, yeah, about 2019, I realized I was writing grateful notes every single day. So much so that my original vase was a regular size vase that you do flowers, and I had to upgrade to this one. And so I began to realize how I really have incorporated writing grateful notes into my everyday practice. And it has really been a life changing moment for me. So let me just explain to you how I do my grateful jar. But I want to put a disclaimer here right now. How I do my grateful jar may not be how you want to do your grateful jar. And it may not be the best practice for you. But this has been the best practice for me. And I just want to share it with you. And then you can make it your own. There's no rules, there's no regulations. And I'm not going to come and judge your grateful jar. You can even make one if you want to. Make it really nice and pretty, because there's a lot of people out here that have those kind of gifts and talents, right? So let me tell you what I do. So I take my grateful note, and I write the date on my grateful note. Writing the date on the grateful note is important to me. And then I go ahead and I write, I'm grateful for, and whatever I'm grateful for that day, that moment in time. And I pretty much write one grateful thought per note. And then I do it that way for several reasons, and I'll recap that later on. And so I just write one grateful note. And you might say, well, what can I write down? Well, you can write down your big milestones. You might be grateful for the day you got married, the day you had your children, the day you graduated from high school, college, master's degree, PhD, you got your home, the car you wanted, answered prayers, your healing. It could just be a gamut of things on those big milestones. But it also can be your everyday life. I'm grateful for this wonderful Monday, because we all should be grateful for Mondays, right? So it can be something as simple as that. It could be, I'm grateful for this wonderful meal I prepared. I'm grateful for the wonderful time I got to spend with family and friends, right? It could be, I'm just grateful for breath, breathing in and breathing out. So those are just the type of things that you can write on your grateful note, right? And then you can also, for me, I found out that sometimes if I'm reading my Bible, and sometimes a scripture will kind of capture my attention or my heart. You can read the scriptures over and over again, but then sometimes something just like really grabs you. And then I will take the time to write down what I'm grateful for about that scripture. So again, I put the date on it. And then let's just say it's John 10:10, where it says, the thief comes but to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come to give you life and life more abundantly. I might put the date on there, and then I might say, I'm grateful for the Lord coming to give in me the abundant life that I live today. And then I put John 10:10 on it. I fold it up and I put it in my jar. And so then those scriptures are there for me to read later. So it doesn't have to be something so heavy or so deep or something so profound, for you to put in your grateful jar. It's whatever grateful moment that you have. I mean, if you've never made a good bowl of rice and you finally got it, that's a moment of gratitude, right? So, those are things that you can do to begin to think of, when you want to do your grateful jar. So now that you have your grateful jar and it's all filled up, what do you do next, right? So I've seen a number of people will go ahead and empty their grateful jar out at the end of December, and then they'll read all of their grateful notes for the year. And that's fine because that works for them. But for me, I like to read my grateful notes at the top of the following year in that January. And because that's what I found worked for me at the top of the year. And so basically what I do, I'm going to show you. And I don't know, this just was a random practice and it just has been that way ever since. I take all the grateful notes out of the grateful jar and I go ahead and I put them in this shopping bag that I just happen to find laying around, a gift bag. And as you can see, I have a few more grateful notes left. And basically what I do each day, I just reach in here and grab however many I grab. So I grab this many and they don't take long to read. And then I read the grateful note that I have at this moment. And then after I finish reading the grateful note, again, something just random that popped up, another gift bag sitting around the house. And I put them in here. And as you can see, they're coming to the top. And that is what I do with the grateful notes. And as I'm reading the grateful notes, there may be some grateful notes that I do recycle, I'm going to say, is, let's just say, you put in your grateful note the day you got married or the day you had a child or whatever that big milestone is, and you want to remember that grateful moment for the rest of your life. I just read that moment. I smile about it because it has a date on it. So I know when it happened. And then I put it back in my grateful jar. If it's something like that, when I get to a part where there's a scripture, I reread that scripture and I write down what I was grateful for in that moment. If it still resonates with me, I will put it back in my grateful jar again for me to reread. And if it doesn't, that time has passed and I move on and I go ahead and I put it in the jar. You can see with all the open notes, right? And so this is what I do. And I'm going to throw a little caveat in here too. Even when I go on vacation or I'm going to be away from the home, I'll grab a stack, a few of these grateful notes and bring them with me. And if I forget, there's always some kind of scrap paper, napkin or whatever laying around. Or if you're at a hotel, they always got a notepad, right? So there's no excuse or a reason for me not to continue on my journey and writing out my grateful notes every single day. So I'm very grateful for that. So that's a good note to write, right? I'm grateful for that. Thanks. And so what I also do is some days you're just in a brain fog and you just can't think of anything that you're grateful for, right? I believe that if you search for God's goodness, you'll find it. If you're searching for good, you find good. I believe whatever you're seeking, you shall find, right? So you just have to be open to it and it'll find you. I can remember one day I was out at a stoplight and I saw a person in distress, and then I saw another person pull over and stop and help that person. Well, at that moment, I was grateful to see the human kindness still prevailing despite what everybody may think. And it was just a beautiful moment to watch, right? And then I remember another time when a friend called me that she had been wanting this great big promotion and she finally got it. And so I was so happy for her that I simply wrote on my grateful note that I was grateful that she got the promotion. So when I reread that, no matter where I'm at in my life, I can remember the great things that happened to her because I'm a firm believer. If it happened to her, it can happen to me. And then sidebar, I'm just one of those people. I'm always happy when I see people winning, when I see people succeeding. I am generally, even if I don't know you, I am happy for you. You should see all the people I cry for on the internet that I don't even know when they're giving their testimonies about great things that are happening in their lives, right? That's me. So I'm going to tell you personally what has happened to me with response to the grateful notes. I have my notes here, so I'm going to make sure I wanted to share them with you. I feel like these grateful notes have done a number of things for me. The first thing it's done is when I read the grateful notes, it really, at the top of the year, it really reminds me that all of these are promises that I have before me written in notes. And if I could be kept, provided for all of that previous year, how much more will it happen for me in the current year? It reminds me that no matter what is going on in the world, there is still joy. We all have and face life disappointments where we didn't get the job, we didn't get the loan, something didn't go the way we wanted to. And it takes up so much real estate in our head because we keep repeating that thing over and over and over again. But when you start leading a life of gratitude, you slowly realize that, you know what? those things don't take up as much real estate in your life or in your mind, and you begin to have more of a mindset of gratitude. You begin to lead with gratitude. I even find myself when I'm murmuring and complaining about something that I stop myself and say, but how can you find God's goodness even in this? And there's been times that I say, you know what? I think I'm grateful that I didn't react this time how I used to act maybe 5 years ago, right? So that's a moment of gratitude because that shows growth, that shows maturity, that shows you've learned something in life, right? So there's just so many wonderful and great things to be grateful for. You just have to seek it out and you just have to find it. And I find that leading with gratitude has changed my perspective on things, how I view things. I'm a little more open-minded to things now, and I'm not quick to judge either because I lead my life with gratitude, you know? And so I think it's just a personal benefit too. And I think it just also those endorphins. I don't know. I believe that it just leads to just a goodness. And not to say that nothing bad ever happens or tragic in my life. It's just that I'm making a choice not to focus on the bad, but to focus on the good. Because I just believe the more, whatever you are focusing on the most is what you're giving your attention to and what draws to you. So I just wanted to be able to share, looking at my notes here, I just wanted to be able to share what the grateful jar habit has done for me and how it has just been, it's just a daily part of my life now. And I'm very grateful to be able to share this moment with you. So I'm just going to share with you that if you want to get started today, I think a very good grateful note for you today might be today's date. I put the year, the month, and the date up there. And then you can say, I'm grateful for finding this YouTube channel, Yes to Mondays, that is going to help incorporate me to have a life of gratitude. Yay! Such a good grateful note for you to start off with, right? So my friends, I'm going to continue to, hopefully you will just live a life of gratitude. I hope that you like this video. And if you do, please like it. Please take the time to comment below of what you're grateful for in this moment. And I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. So remember, leading a life of gratitude just has such a big influence on your life. Be grateful and have a great day.